Hello everybody, in this tutorial I would like to talk about the label encoder and OneHot encoder, which are two ways in order to convert our categorical variable into a numeric one. First, we should understand why we need to do this. The reason behind on this method is to convert your categorical variable into numeric one in order to have a better feature for our predictive model. So in this tutorial, I'm going to go into the two methods, the label encoder and OneHot encoding, and how we can use them. So let's jump in the code. As a dataset, I'm using the Airbnb as always, and let's start. At the beginning, we are going to import pandas, and for the label encoder, we are going to use Scikit-learn pre-processing library. So we have to import from the Scikit-learn pre-processing. We are importing the label encoder. So the next step is to load our data. We are loading our data using red CSV. Let's check what are our numeric variables. As you can see, the numeric variables that we have is ID, host ID, the geographical information, price, and so on. So let's check out also our categorical variable in general. And as you can see, we have different ones, such as the name, host name, a neighborhood group, and so on. So in this specific tutorial, I'm going just to focus on neighborhood group, which is displaying the Airbnb location in the New York. And let's check out what are the unique values of this column. And there we go. We have Brooklyn, we have Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, and Bronx. So as the first method, I'm going to try a label encoder. So, okay, and there we go. The first thing that we should do is to load the label encoder. So I am saving it in an object which is called LBL encode. And then what we need to use, let me just copy this part, is that we are using the function fit transform. So we are using the object LBL encode, and then we are calling the fit transform in order to fit the label encoder. And then in the parameter, as the parameter, we are passing the column that we would like to convert it to numeric. So in this case, I just want to use the neighborhood group, and let's see the output. As you can see, we have a numeric output as the out of the function. So just to show you what are exactly the outputs of this function, let's save it in a column which is called neighborhood group label, and then let's get the unique values. There we go. So as you can see here, for each level of categorical variable, we have an assigned numeric that they're starting from 0 to 4, and here we can see exactly what are the unique values. So let's check also the same thing just for neighborhood group in order to compare them. And as you can see, they're ordered exactly as before. So Manhattan number is 2, Brooklyn number is 1, Queens 3, and so on. So this is one of the methods that we can use to convert our categorical variable into the numeric one. However, there is another way, which is called OneHot encoding, which is converting your categorical variable into numeric in another way. So let's see how it works. So for converting a neighborhood group into OneHot encoding, I have to use getDummies function, which is a function of pandas. And let's check the output right away. And as you can see, instead of having a numeric for the category, for each category, we have the levels of the categories, such as Bronx, Brooklyn, and so on. And for each record, we have the value 1 or 0. So 1, it means that, for example, for the first record, their home location is in Brooklyn. And as you can see, the values for other categorical variables is 0. And it is the same like for the second record, that the location is in Manhattan and so on. And so this is just the added column, which means that there are extra columns that we have to integrate in our main data frame. And let's see if we use the join function, which is doing the thing that we want, but as you can see, we are going to have it at the end of our data frame. So in order to do a better integration, I recommend to first drop the neighborhood group column, and let's use the access parameter 1 and in place true in order to place it directly in our data frame. So let's check the columns, and as you can see, we don't have neighborhood group anymore. And then we are using the join function in order to add the columns to Airbnb, which is the original data frame. And there we go. So we have the neighborhood, which is different from neighborhood group. And at the end, I expect to see the columns. So here you go. For each neighborhood area, we have dedicated column. And this is the neighborhood group label, which we created before using this part, label encoder. And yeah, that's it. So you have to use either you have to use just one of these methods in order to convert your categorical variable to the numeric one. In this tutorial, I'm not applying them directly in the machine learning models, but I will create a tutorial dedicated for that as well. So we can see using different encoding methods how our predictive models are going to change. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it and looking to see you here soon.